What's going on, man? What's good? It's your boy YOLO, man. You know my bop. What's good, man? I haven't posted a video. I just been working still, still working though, putting stuff out there, showing love to everybody. Today I want to talk about New York City, my birthplace, and how on God's green earth can the government manipulate our constitutional rights. This is something that goes spoken about, but no action is ever taken. In this situation, I'm going to bring up a few examples of differences between other states and my hometown, New York. First off, we've been taking a wrong approach in combating our police. We feel that it's numbers and it's aggression that will get our point across. And that's false. That's false. Because in this situation, if you notice, the one advantage that law enforcement officers have against us, the people, is knowledge. Knowledge of the law. Now, they're able to abuse it and able to set us up, in a sense, because we do not question law. We do not know law. And when you have lack of knowledge of something, how can you go against it? You understand me? How can you go against something that you know nothing about? Prime example, in New York some time ago, they did the stop and frisk. And also New York is a stop and ID state, meaning that they don't need to be able to articulate any suspicious crime that's about to be committed or that you may have committed. It's pretty much, if they feel like it, they could just pull you over and frisk you and make you ID yourself, which is against our constitutional rights in every other state. You have the right to privacy and to protect your information, which is why, in order for some authorities in some states, they need to be able to articulate suspicion of a crime or suspicious that you're about to commit a crime in order for you to even identify yourself, unless you're in a motor vehicle. And that's only if you're the driver. Passengers don't have to ID themselves, period. Now, we all know New York has strict laws against guns. Let's talk about it. With that law in place, again, it goes against our constitutional right, something that has been set in stone years before these laws came about. And a lot of states follow our constitutional rights because it's our human rights. Now, in New York, if you look at it, every time I look at the news, a civilian, elderly, somebody who's not even a street person is being victimized. Now, me, myself, now being in Florida and recognizing that it's a gun state, the crime is focused on criminals against criminals. Out here, they're not so quick to try to rob a civilian because 9 out of 10 times that civilian is going to have a pocket rocket and be able to defend themselves. Now, the criminal mind, we all know how it works if you come from that lifestyle. The potential threat of us getting caught steers us away from the crime. It steers us away. So now, if you're trying to rob someone and get a quick lick, right? But that person has a gun, there's a good chance now you got to get into a shootout. When you get into a shootout, the victim is most likely licensed. Therefore, they don't get arrested. Now, if you get caught, the person who's trying to catch that lick, you're going to jail for a long time. You're not going to be able to reap the reward of the work that you're trying to put in. Now, in New York, it's a different ball game because in New York, you could be roaming the streets, especially around certain times of the year, tax season, holidays, things like that. And the potential risk of you getting caught is minimal. Or the potential threat of you having someone fight back is minimal, especially if you have a weapon. So my thing is, how is it that New York, where it's a melting pot of ethnicities, And there's more civilians than law enforcement. There's also more gangs than law enforcement. How is it that they're still able to violate our rights and manipulate law? Why is it that we don't question that? Instead, we get emotional, right? As law enforcement continue to abuse us, we get emotional, and then we do stupid shit like break into our own people's stores, damaging small businesses. Yet, that doesn't affect law enforcement whatsoever. Because now every cop, now they put in law enforcement out in the streets, and guess what? They're getting paid more money. They're making more money to watch you destroy your own stuff, your own neighborhood, and your own peoples. You understand me? What is going on with that? Why is it that we allowing ourselves to become so weak-minded and manipulated if there's so many of us? Unity is key. Unity is key. Every war that was won and fought, it was won and fought by separation. It was won and fought by separation. Unity, sticking together is key. Example, law enforcement, they stick together. Brothers in blue, they stick together. No matter what, right or wrong, they stick together. And majority of the time of them sticking together, they fucking win. They win. They can beat somebody up and win. Because they're a unit. They move as a unit. Okay, so my thing is, knowledge is key. Knowledge is key. Example, if you're in New York, you're not committing a crime. Granted, they can stop and ask you for your identification, but there's no longer a stop and frisk. So you have the right to say, I do not consent to a search and seizure. And if they proceed, right, instead of fighting them and resist them, let them take you in. Because in today's world, somebody got it on video. Somebody got it on video. So you stay shut, you don't resist, don't add any real charges on you. Let them go off that bogus shit, and you come off on top. You fight back the legal way. But that will never happen because people are too lazy to educate themselves about their surroundings. You know, when I was young, the OGs always told me, hey, if you want to get into this game, if you want to wheel and deal, learn the crimes that you're going to be committing and learn the laws behind it so that way you can know what you're getting into. And there was a couple of us. That really took the time to learn. Like, okay, shit. If I'm chilling in my neighborhood and I got an ID to be in this building, law enforcement cannot remove me from a public area, especially forcefully. And they used to get away with that all the time. All right, guys, y'all either going to keep it moving or we're going to start locking people up. And you had some that scattered like roaches, and then you had some that stand firm. And what happened to the individuals that stand firm? Those who knew, they faced no consequences because they knew how to be in the right. Even when someone is created or laws are created to put you in the wrong. Now again, don't get it twisted. I do understand and I do know that there's a lot of criminals. A lot. So some do deserve, but even criminals, the first thing they do, a lot of them, when they go to jail and they have a lot of time, they hit the law library. That's why that saying comes that when you go to jail, you become a better criminal. The reason they become a better criminal is because they gain the knowledge that they need to counteract and combat law enforcement. You understand me? Like, shit is crazy. It's bogus. Shit is real crazy and it's bogus, man. We need to stand up and stand firm on what we believe. You know, in my neighborhood, and it's not only my neighborhood, it's there's ghettos everywhere. All right, but in my neighborhood, I seen kids, man. Kids that just because they were in the wrong neighborhood, they would get beat up by law enforcement. They would get arrested for stupid shit. Disorderly conduct, trespassing. You know, if law enforcement couldn't get you with one thing, once they see that you're not questioning it and you don't know, they'll hit you with other shit and they'll get away with it. They'll get away with it because the lack of knowledge, man. Knowledge is real power. Knowledge is key, man. It's not aggression. It's not throwing punches. It's not throwing glass. It's not uniting and destroying our own small businesses. It's knowledge. Learn what law enforcement can and can't do. Also learn what your rights are. Learn what your rights are. And that shit right there will protect you from the police brutality that we're facing. Okay? 90%, this is documented. This is real stats. 90% of individuals that come in contact with law enforcement get detained illegally. They get fucking bogus charges put against them. And a lot of them end up facing jail time. And it's simple because the lack of knowledge of law. It doesn't make you a bad person to educate yourself. Knowledge is what helps one grow. Knowledge is what helps one exceed in life. No matter what form of knowledge it is, educate yourself, people. It's your boy YOLO. I always appreciate the talk. Get in my comment box. Subscribe to ITZ YOLO Brim. Get in my comment box, man. Let's start creating conversations so that way when I get on lives, we can have real talks with real people and get different points of views, man. Let's come together and formulate. Let's grow. Let's see how we can better ourselves as people, as individuals, man, and protect ourselves from a system that's created to bring us down and keep us down. If you ain't gonna fight for that, what the fuck are you fighting for? It's your boy, man. You know my bop.